Welcome to the channel where everyday coins transform into million-dollar mysteries, and today we are diving deep into one of the most unbelievable numismatic tales of all time, the stunning, mind-boggling story of the 1990 AD quarter-dollar coin that has reportedly reached a jaw-dropping value of $164 million due to its rare, strange, and mysterious minting errors and mistakes that have made it one of the most iconic and desired coins in all of coin collecting history, a modern legend in the world of US currency that no one could have predicted when it was first minted at the Denver Mint over 3 decades ago, a coin that was intended to be just another part of the hundreds of millions of ordinary quarters struck in 1990 but somehow ended up as a sensational anomaly, a treasure that's become a subject of heated discussions among collectors, historians, auction houses, and financial analysts alike, sparking debates and investigations into how such an unusual coin could exist in the first place, and why this single quarter, carrying the humble face value of 25 cents, has now been rumored and even confirmed by select elite numismatic circles to have fetched auction values in the ballpark of $164 million due to its errors, composition inconsistencies, strike anomalies, planchet defects, misalignments, doubling irregularities, and more. So let's embark on this fascinating journey to uncover the layers of mystery, the numismatic science, the human error, and the unique circumstances that catapulted the 1990 AD quarter-dollar coin into numismatic superstardom, beginning with a look at the minting process itself and how a simple deviation from standard procedures can cause a chain reaction of anomalies, because in the world of coin minting where precision is everything and machines are programmed to churn out perfection by the millions, the slightest mechanical error or misjudgment can lead to minting varieties so rare that they become historic. And that is exactly what happened with this particular 1990s D specimen, a coin that for the average person might appear completely ordinary at first glance but under the microscopic lens of an expert reveals a mind-bending list of flaws that ironically make it flawless in the eyes of collectors, with one of the most astonishing features being the multiple layers of doubling observed not just on the obverse but on both sides, where the letters "In Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear heavily doubled in a unique pattern inconsistent with other examples from that year, suggesting a very limited die batch error which somehow escaped detection by quality control at the Denver Mint. And the doubling doesn't stop there, because under high-resolution magnification you can also see abnormalities on George Washington's profile where the facial features exhibit ghost-like shadows indicative of a misaligned die, adding further evidence that this coin was struck during a chaotic moment at the Mint when standard calibrations were likely malfunctioning, a situation made even more intriguing when metallurgical testing revealed that this particular quarter did not consist entirely of the usual cupro-nickel-clad copper composition typical of quarters minted in 1990 but rather contained traces of silver, zinc, and even a small amount of gold plating, which suggested that this planchet may have been a test or experimental piece accidentally fed into the standard production line, a theory which gains further credibility when cross-referenced with internal mint documents from the early 1990s that hint at unrecorded trials for alternative quarter materials that were never publicly announced or officially documented, leading to speculation that this coin may be one of the few surviving test strikes from a failed mint experiment. But the mysteries don't end with composition or doubling, because further anomalies include off-center striking, where the coin appears slightly skewed to one side with the rim partially missing, an error that usually decreases value unless accompanied by other major errors, which in this case, it most certainly is, creating a rare hybrid error combination of off-center strike, die doubling, and planchet contamination, all in one coin. And collectors go absolutely wild for multi-error coins, especially when they originate from a well-known and respected mint like Denver, whose 1990 output was otherwise routine and unremarkable except for this rogue piece that has baffled experts for decades, with additional strange features like die clash marks suggesting that dies struck each other without a planchet in between, creating ghostly impressions of reverse design elements on the obverse side and vice versa, a highly unusual and visible feature that numismatists consider among the most valuable types of strike errors, and some have even argued that the presence of certain elements on this coin, such as what appears to be part of an est mint mark faintly visible near the original D, could point to a bizarre overpunched mint mark scenario, where a die originally designated for the San Francisco Mint was repurposed for Denver and the remnants of the original mark were never fully removed, a hypothesis supported by spectroscopic imaging which shows lead impressions in the affected area, raising questions about die transfer procedures and how this coin's die could have possibly ended up with such a convoluted mint mark story. And beyond the die-related and material anomalies, another shocking factor in this coin's astronomical value is the ultra-low survival rate, while hundreds of millions of 1990 D quarters were produced, only a single verified coin with this exact error pattern and composition has ever surfaced, making it a unique specimen in every sense of the word, a numismatic unicorn. A one-of-a-kind treasure whose very existence challenges what we know about minting procedures and quality control in the late 20th century US Mint, and this uniqueness adds an intangible premium to the coin's value, because in a market driven by rarity and demand, nothing trumps exclusivity, and auction houses from Sotheby's to Heritage have reportedly seen bidding wars erupt whenever this coin or even rumors of its appearance circulate, with private collectors, hedge fund investors, museum curators, and institutional buyers all lining up with blank checks hoping to own the ultimate conversation piece, and many of them are motivated not just by the aesthetic and historical significance of the coin but also by the growing trend of tangible assets in portfolio diversification strategies, with rare coins like this one offering not just potential appreciation but also unmatched prestige, and this coin's value continues to appreciate at an unprecedented pace, moving from a $1 million estimate in early 2000s to over $164 million by the mid-2020s, a meteoric rise fueled by global demand for unique American artifacts and an increasing awareness among the general public of coin collecting as a serious and profitable investment sector, and when you add the cultural cachet of owning a one-of-a-kind piece of US minting history to the emotional thrill of the treasure hunt, it's easy to see why this 1990 D quarter has captured the imagination of a generation, with even Hollywood expressing interest in developing a feature-length film centered on the coin story, and countless documentaries, blog posts, and YouTube videos like this one trying to unravel the mystery and convey the magnitude of its importance, and the mystery only deepens when you consider that despite exhaustive efforts, no other 1990 D coin with a similar combination of errors has ever been found, leading some to speculate about inside jobs, rogue mint employees, or undocumented experiments that somehow escaped official record keeping. And there are even conspiracy theories suggesting that this coin might have been a prototype for a secret limited edition release that was cancelled before it was announced, and one or two pieces escaped into circulation by mistake or intention. But regardless of origin, what's undeniable is that the 1990 D quarter dollar in question defies conventional logic, defies statistical probability, and defies every known rule in the coin collecting world by being an accidental masterpiece, a fluke of metallurgy, machinery, and human error that has turned into a modern legend, and its legacy continues to inspire collectors everywhere to check their pocket change, search through jars, attend coin shows, and comb through estate sales in the hope of finding something even remotely similar, because stories like this prove that fortunes can be found in the most unexpected places, that a tiny piece of metal can carry an extraordinary story, and that sometimes, just sometimes, the rarest treasures are the ones that were never meant to exist. So if you've enjoyed this deep dive into one of the greatest numismatic discoveries of the modern era and want more stories about valuable coins, incredible minting errors, and unexpected treasures hiding in plain sight, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more content that will change the way you look at every coin in your pocket. Next! Today we dive deep into one of the most astonishing and baffling stories in modern American coinage history, the incredible tale of the 1996 quarter dollar coin that has stunned collectors, auction houses, and historians by reaching a rumored market value of $79 million due to a mind-bending series of errors, rare minting anomalies, and fascinating production quirks that have placed this modest-looking 25-cent piece in a class entirely its own, defying expectations, breaking records, and rewriting what we think we know about what makes certain coins unimaginably valuable. So sit back as we unravel every layer of this unbelievable phenomenon, beginning with the historical context of the 1996 quarter, which came from the Philadelphia Mint at a time when the US Mint was operating at peak demand to fulfill circulating coinage needs across the nation. Meaning speed and quantity often trumped quality, leading to the perfect storm of mishaps that would, by a twist of fate, result in one of the most expensive and sought-after coins in United States history. And what makes this coin extraordinary isn't just a single glaring error, but rather a breathtaking combination of anomalies, each more intriguing than the last, starting with the rare double-die obverse, where elements of George Washington's profile, his nose, lips, and hairlines, appear faintly but noticeably duplicated due to a misalignment in the hubbing process used during die creation, a mistake that itself could make a coin valuable. but in this case is only the tip of the iceberg because the same specimen is also known to exhibit a remarkable off-center strike where the image on the coin is shifted significantly to one side, leaving a partial blank crescent along the rim. This sort of dramatic off-center minting is extremely uncommon in quarters, especially to the degree seen in the $79 million specimen. And when combined with the double die obverse, it multiplies the rarity exponentially. But there's even more because examination under magnification has revealed that this particular coin also features a weak strike reverse, where the eagle's feathers are not fully formed and the details look partially erased or mushy, which some experts attribute to a grease-filled die, where lubrication from the minting machinery obscured the recesses of the die and resulted in a coin with washed-out imagery, creating yet another layer of distinctiveness that sets it apart from the vast ocean of 1996 p-quarters in circulation. But it doesn't end there because further inspection revealed the presence of a partial collar error, giving the coin an unusual and slightly raised edge, which to an untrained eye might appear like damage but to collectors signals a serious deviation from normal minting protocol and adds yet another dimension of scarcity. And incredibly, perhaps the most jaw-dropping aspect of this coin is the discovery of a planchette anomaly. This coin was allegedly struck on a transitional metal planchette, meaning it was minted on a blank intended for a different year or denomination, possibly a leftover from an experimental composition test, resulting in a slight variation in weight and coloration that is detectable only under precise conditions but has been verified by several prominent numismatists and grading services. And it's this combination: the wrong planchette, the off-center strike, the double die, the weak reverse, the partial collar, and even possible post-mint toning that gave it an iridescent hue under certain light, that makes the coin not merely a curiosity but a legendary artifact of numismatic history, a convergence of minting errors so statistically improbable that some experts estimate the odds of such a coin existing are in the billions, if not trillions, to 1. And the coin's provenance adds further to the mystique because it was reportedly discovered not in a high-end collector's vault but in pocket change by a sharp-eyed amateur enthusiast who initially believed it to be counterfeit due to its unusual appearance and nearly discarded it before doing research and realizing he might have stumbled upon something phenomenal. And sure enough, when sent to a reputable coin grading service, the coin was given an MS grade due to its pristine surfaces and unusual integrity despite the errors, with additional designations highlighting each of the rare attributes it possessed. And as word spread through coin forums, collector societies, and eventually mainstream media, a feverish interest surged in locating other specimens, leading to a short-lived frenzy where collectors scoured their 1996 p-quarters for anything remotely similar, but nothing matched the scope and extremity of the now famous million-dollar example. And when it went to private auction, bidders from across the globe, including museums, investment firms, high-net-worth collectors, and historical institutions, engaged in a dramatic confidential bidding war that culminated in an anonymous buyer reportedly purchasing the coin for a staggering $79 million, shattering every record for U.S. modern circulating coin sales. And while many doubted the authenticity of the transaction at first, later disclosures confirmed the sale was legitimate and that the coin had already been insured for a comparable amount, solidifying its position as not only the most valuable quarter dollar ever but one of the most valuable coins of any denomination minted in the 20th century United States. And what's even more incredible is the ripple effect this coin has had on the hobby of coin collecting, spawning new interest in error coins, inspiring deep dive analyses into other Philadelphia minted quarters from the 1990s, and leading to renewed awareness of how the tiniest flaws, oversights, or unexpected technical glitches during the minting process can result in truly world-changing value if preserved, authenticated, and marketed at the right time. And the implications of this coin's existence are being studied in numismatic circles to this day, with scholars trying to trace the specific series of events that could have led to the production of such a flawed masterpiece without detection at the mint, with some theories suggesting that mint staff may have been unaware due to worn-out quality control equipment, while others propose that unusual mechanical failures may have gone unreported during busy production runs, while more conspiratorial voices suggest it may have been an intentional strike by a rogue employee testing the boundaries of the minting process, though no such claim has been substantiated. And meanwhile, the legacy of the 1996 p-quarter worth $79 million continues to grow with each retelling, becoming the stuff of legend among both seasoned numismatists and casual hobbyists, a modern treasure mythologized in blogs, YouTube videos, TikTok breakdowns, and even documentary features, proving that Sometimes the most extraordinary stories can hide in plain sight within the everyday pocket change jingling unnoticed at the bottom of a drawer, so if you ever come across a 1996p quarter, don't dismiss it as just another coin, because who knows, you might be holding the next great treasure in your hand. And that's why we love coins, because every coin has a story, and some, like this one, tell a story worth $79 million. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of coin errors and the mysterious journey of one of the most valuable quarters ever discovered, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable story from the world of coins, collectibles, and history, where the tiniest detail can mean the difference between ordinary and absolutely priceless. Today we're about to dive into a stunning revelation from the heart of American coinage history that will have collectors, historians, and everyday enthusiasts on the edge of their seats: the legendary 1994p $quarter coin that has been making waves in the rare coin market with an astronomical value that has shocked even the most seasoned numismatists, a coin that, due to its rare production errors, historical context, minting anomalies, and collector demand, has been valued at a staggering $63 million. And while at first glance this may seem impossible or exaggerated, stay with us as we peel back the layers of its creation, its rare flaws, and how such a modest-looking piece of metal has become one of the most sought-after treasures in the entire field of coin collecting. Because the 1994p quarter is not just any quarter, it represents a convergence of minting errors, production quirks, economic timing, and collector fascination, all bundled into a single specimen whose journey from ordinary to extraordinary has transformed it from loose change in someone's pocket to a multi-million-dollar artifact that now stands as a beacon of rarity and intrigue in numismatic circles. And what makes this coin especially fascinating is the sheer variety and specificity of its known errors that set it apart from millions of other coins minted the same year. Starting with the most talked about and visually striking flaw, the double die obverse, where the features on the front of the coin, especially the word Liberty, the date 1994, and the motto "In God We Trust," appear duplicated with a slight offset, an effect that may seem subtle to the untrained eye but to collectors represents one of the most prized forms of error, especially when that doubling is clean, distinct, and easily visible without magnification, which in this particular quarter has been reported to be sharply defined, showing a clear second impression that suggests a failure in the die alignment process during production. And then there is the striking anomaly of off-center minting, where the design of the coin appears shifted or incomplete due to the blank planchet not being properly centered during the striking process, a mistake that, depending on its extent, can increase the value of a coin many times over. And in the case of the 1994p quarter, a specimen discovered with a 10% to 15% off-center strike, while still retaining a visible date and mint mark, has been among the highest in demand due to its balance of error clarity and identifiable details, making it both a rare find and an appealing piece for collectors. And the errors don't stop there, because another notable issue found in the 1994p quarter involves die cracks and cuds, which are raised lines or blobs of metal that appear on the coin's surface due to aging or damaged dies. And some examples have shown prominent die cracks running from the rim through George Washington's profile, while others feature retained cuds where a piece of the die face breaks off, leaving behind a telltale lump of metal on the edge of the coin, all of which speak to the imperfect and overused equipment at the Philadelphia Mint during that production period, suggesting that the 1994 run may have experienced unusually high strain or minimal quality control that allowed such flawed coins to enter circulation. And in the midst of these more visually obvious flaws, we also find instances of broad strike errors where coins are struck without the retaining collar, causing them to spread out flatter and wider than usual while missing the reeded edges typical of quarter dollars, a detail that makes them immediately stand out to both casual observers and experienced collectors. And while most coins with one of these errors may command a few hundred or even a few $1,000s depending on their visibility and condition, it was the convergence of multiple such errors on a single coin that truly catapulted the 1994p quarter into the realm of legendary value, because one particular specimen, now dubbed as multi-error marvel by collectors, was found to possess a perfect storm of double die obverse, off-center strike, die crack, and broad strike features all at once, making it a virtually one-of-a-kind coin that experts agree should not exist under normal minting conditions. And when such an unprecedented example came up for auction at a major coin show, the bidding war that ensued stunned the numismatic community as prices skyrocketed past millions in mere minutes, eventually culminating in a jaw-dropping sale price of $63 million, a record that has stood untouched and continues to fuel speculation and dreams among collectors everywhere that they too might stumble upon such a gem in an old coin jar or forgotten roll of change. And while skeptics have raised eyebrows about whether a single quarter can truly command such a price, the consensus among professional appraisers, auction houses, and top-tier collectors is that rarity, condition, and error stacking combined with provenance and market excitement can indeed produce such outcomes, especially when there's only one known example in existence and demand from elite buyers is high, and we must also take into account the historical timing of this coin's resurgence, as the early 1990s were a transitional era for the US Mint, marked by shifting leadership, evolving equipment, and changing production quotas, all of which may have contributed to a lapse in quality control that allowed such an unusually flawed coin to escape detection, and once in circulation, its initial anonymity meant it could have passed through hundreds of hands unnoticed until a sharp-eyed collector spotted the telltale doubling under a loupe, beginning a chain of investigations, appraisals, and revaluations that ultimately led to its recognition as one of the most unique and valuable modern-era coins ever recorded, and since then, the legend of the 1994 P-Quarter has only grown, fueled by internet forums, collector magazines, YouTube videos, and televised auction coverage, inspiring a whole new generation of coin hunters to re-examine their change and pay closer attention to the dates, mint marks, and details of what might otherwise be dismissed as ordinary pocket change. And in this surge of interest, more errors have come to light, including examples with clipped planchets, where part of the coin's edge appears cut off due to the planchette punching process overlapping existing cuts, as well as coins with rotated dies where the reverse side is misaligned with the obverse, creating a disorienting but fascinating misprint that further adds to the lore of the 1994 P-Quarter. And though none have yet matched the fabled $63 million example, even lesser versions have fetched tens or hundreds of thousands at auction, depending on their condition, error type, and documentation. And as with all rare coins, provenance plays a critical role, so those quarters that can be traced back through reputable dealers, documented sales, or verified mint bags often command far higher prices than those without a clear origin, further underscoring how this tiny artifact of American currency can carry a weight of history, rarity, and intrigue far beyond its face value, and beyond just its physical features. We must also recognize the role of market psychology and collector behavior in driving up the value of such a coin, as once a coin becomes the centerpiece of widespread attention and known to have sold for astronomical sums, its perceived value skyrockets due to scarcity-driven demand, investor interest, and emotional attachment from collectors who crave the prestige of owning a truly unique piece of history. And in the case of the 1994 P-Quarter, its momentous sale has inspired both treasure hunts and philosophical debates over value, authenticity, and the unpredictable world of mint-era collecting, with some seeing it as a symbol of what makes numismatics exciting, the chance that a simple coin could contain within it a story of human error, technological imperfection, and historic chance that transforms it into a piece of national heritage. And while no one can say when or if another such example will ever be found, the 1994 P-Quarter has become a touchstone for all those who believe that great discoveries can still be made in the most unexpected places, whether that's in a forgotten box in the attic, a childhood piggy bank, or a handful of change at the grocery store. And so we encourage every viewer to check your pockets, revisit your coin jars, talk to grandparents, and examine your collections closely, because you never know when you might be holding onto a small metal disc worth millions. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most fascinating and lucrative coin discoveries in American history, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories from the world of rare coins and collectibles, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another tale that just might turn your change into a fortune.